Okay. Let's just. Bing. Okay. Right. That's better. How are you getting the signal okay now? Are you getting the signal okay now? Yes or no? Yeah, that's better. Yes. So can you hear me better now, guys? Good, good, good. So what we're going to do, we're going to review. Yes, I think you guys are getting me now. We're going to review a video of Riley being interviewed. We're just going to start playing it and go from there. I want to get my coffee. Okay. Right, got my coffee. Got my book. So I just need my phone. Phone alone. Got my stand to hold my phone. Got a bit right. Okay, I'm a bit snivelly today. So let me shut the door behind me. Have a look. Let me just play. Woo! Itchy again. LDP. Okay, I think we're sorted. That was a bit of a change around. So, guys, let's have a look at your comments. I got a bit of coffee left. Happy Boxing Day. So if you just started watching and you're watching a replay, fast forward the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes didn't go well. Oh, this morning's live was good. I enjoyed this morning's live. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the video. Should be on my history. We're going to just play it from the beginning and we're going to talk about it. Obviously, at the moment, it's important that we are letting the world not forget about this book. Yeah, this book must not be forgotten. So we're always going to keep mentioning it most days. Just move that away a bit. Okay. Let's see if I can find the video. So we're in the lounge. Okay, let me just find it, guys. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have been posting a lot of video clips on my video channel, vintage video clips. I'm finding old vintage videos and I'm posting them because I just think our channel, Defending Elvis Presley, I think we should have all the classic video clips going right back to the 50s, right to the day Elvis passed, and the vintage interviews and TV news clips. There's a lot of TV news clips. And bit by bit, I'm going to post all of them gradually, slowly over the next year. I want on Defending Elvis Presley. I had a brilliant Christmas. Thank you, Linda. On hi Lorna, hi Angel. I just want everyone to be able to, all the important vintage Elvis clips, I want them to be able to be found on our channel. So Defending Elvis. So you're going to see a lot of clips popping up. Yeah, Elizabeth, I've been posting quite a few. Obviously, I could do a lot more yesterday because I was free. I was sort of chilling out yesterday, so I had time to post them. So I'm going to post hundreds. Yeah, we've all been busy, haven't we? Hi, Tanya. Tanya, are you new or have you been on before? Yeah, Helen, have you been watching them? All the different little clips. I did quite a few yesterday. I've got one. Actually, there's one I was about to post. I could play it you. In fact, I will. Let's see if I can find it. I haven't watched it yet, but it's to do. Let me see if it comes up. There's one. I posted me fixing my wife's car. That was, which is quite funny. Did any of you watch the video me fixing my wife's car? Ah, yes, Tanya. You were the one with the questions. Actually, do you know what? Tanya, do you remember your last two questions? I actually think I've got them. So Tanya's questions was, let's have a look. Right, let's have a look. I'm just trying to find it. Tanya, do you remember your last two questions? I actually took a picture of them. Right, we do need to start asking questions. We need a few more people on. Let's just see who isn't on yet. So Diana. So let's just, is Diana on? Let me just, there's a few people missing. I'm going to message as many as I can. Let's have a look. I'm just going to quickly whiz through a load now. Karen, are you on? Let's have a look. We've got Patty. I'll say the names as we go. Tony, Philomena. I don't know if Philomena is still connected to our Facebook because Emily, are you on? Loretta. Well, we haven't been on long, Tanya. We're just sort of setting up. I have to sort of inform everyone that we're live because the notifications don't seem to work. Thea, are you on? We've got Thea. Elizabeth is on. Hidden Minds. Renee off Hidden Minds. We've got Greg. Who else? Jean. Let's tell Jean. I think that'll do. I think that's most people. Jane. Judith. Okay, I don't think Judith is on anymore. We've got Josie. Who else have we got? Okay, I think that's everyone. Well, I'm sure there's a few names we've missed. Okay, I think that'll do. So I just want to see if there was a vintage interview to do with how the name Hound Dog was done. Let's see if I can get it on my history. I've not watched it, but I thought it was interesting. Let's have a look. Let's see if it comes up. I actually recorded it. I can't see it. Come on, where are you? Where are you? No, it's not on here. Let me just see if it's on my recordings. I think I just found it. Let's have a look. As you can see, I'm very organized today.
Songs for Elvis Presley, Hound Dog. How long did it take? How did you get it to him? Tell me about
Right, let's just see if this works. I don't know if this is going to work.
How long did it take? How did you get it to him? And that kind of stuff.
Well, it took about 10 minutes, but we wrote it for a woman named Big Mama Thornton. Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton.
A kind of, I'm guessing...
She's a blues singer.
Yeah.
She was. She passed away not long ago. And she used to sing with Johnny Otis's band back in the early 50s. Johnny wanted us to write for her, and we went and saw her.
Saw her perform?
Yeah, she was a knockout.
Then how did Elvis get the song after that?
I think he got it from a lounge act.
He saw somebody else doing it?
Yeah, I think he heard a lounge act in Vegas.
This is a great picture. This is 1957, so it says right there. You guys and Elvis Presley. And I'm guessing that you guys in California, when you would go to the coast, must have been trouble. Right? You guys went out there and all hell would break loose.
We lived there.
But hot young songwriters writing million seller after million seller. It must have been nonstop, you know, like Shriners, right?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, sure, man.
Okay.
It was better than the Shriners.
How did you find out that the song had become such a huge hit? Which one of you was on the...
Me.
Okay, tell us. This is a great story.
Well, I'm supposed to tell that story.
Well, who did it happen to?
He was
Well,
young.
let him tell it.
All right.
Let me tell it, man. You always tell it.
Okay.
I was returning.
Better.
All right,
I
then let
know,
him tell
but
it for
oh no, I don't want him to tell
Like
it.
if Harvey out here and he can tell
I was returning from Europe on my first after my first trip to Europe on a ship called the Andrea Doria
it. The ill-fated Andrea Doria.
in 1956, and it collided with another ship, the Stockholm.
Yeah.
Right, and it sank. And
And he sang with it. And this is not
I'm
really
sinking with it right now. At any rate, I was eventually picked up in a lifeboat by a freighter, and it was a harrowing experience.
Yeah.
I came into New York, and Jerry was at the dock to meet me, and he brought an Italian silk suit for me, thinking that I might have...
want to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have wanted to look good. He threw his arms around me and he said, "Mike, you're alive. Thank heavens you're alive." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Elvis did Hound Dog last week, and it's just came out, and it's #1 already."
Yeah.
And I said, "That's groovy."
Well, was that your first blockbuster? Your first really big
I
one?
think it was our first super pop hit. Most of the other hits we had before that were rhythm and blues.
I see. What was that song about exactly?
Well, the original song that was written for Big Mama Thornton was written about, it was the story of a woman kicking a sponger out of her house.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
And the original
Vincenzo.
lyric was different. It was, "You ain't nothing
Hi,
but a
Jiggy
hound
Blue.
dog. Quit snooping around my door. You can wag your tail, but I ain't gonna feed you no more."
Mm-hmm.
Now, when she did the song, and it was kind of it was a hit. It was a big rhythm and blues hit. Then it was covered by some lounge acts, and they changed the words. And Presley heard a lounge act with the changed words,
Right.
with Rabbit,
Yeah.
and he cut that version.
So now, does the guy who changed the words get a cut?
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
There you go. Pretty good.
It was an unauthorized adaptation,
Yeah.
right?
You guys are an amazing success story, and I really appreciate you coming by here tonight. It was nice talking with you. Thank you very much.
There we go. So, right. So we're here to listen to the interview that Riley gave. So I'm going to get it up and we're just going to listen to it. And then we're just going to get a feel for Riley and her relationship with, obviously, Lisa, Benjamin, the twins, and Priscilla. So let me just find it. We started listening to it earlier. Obviously, I've got to find the thing first. I think it was like I think her name, the interviewer, is called Chelsea. Now, we started listening to it this morning. Right, here we go. Hi, Joe. We are. That's funny. We just mentioned you, Joe. So we're gonna review this interview with dear Chelsea and Riley. So, Tanya, you got Joe here. You can ask him questions yourself. Wanted to pop on the show. My support to you, Joe. You know we love you. There was a girl on here called Tanya that was praising your reading of the book Kathy. So Tanya, if you want to speak to Joe, he's here. Joe, happy Christmas, happy New Year. Keep doing what you're doing. We love your channel, and you're a good friend to us. So thank you for popping on, Joe.
Keough.
Hi, guys.
So cute. First of all, I want to say we're sitting here in my house. It's still not done. I want to say I watched a lot of your interviews in promotion of your book,
Okay.
Which is everybody's knows by now. It's called From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough.
Yes.
I've been watching your interviews, and I just want to say, I wanted to start by saying that with everything you've experienced in your life and everything that you have through and exposed to, you have a very calm and grounded aura about you.
Really?
And it's very easy to see. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. That's an achievement.
Yes,
I would
it
say. I don't
is.
feel that way, but the aura is.
You don't feel that
is
way?
important. Not all the time. No.
Do you feel that way any of the time?
I do some of the time. I have felt that, but I definitely have felt many other things.
Yeah, I would imagine that to be true. So I was reading your book, and I got to the end and was reading the little author's notes. And it said, at the end of yours, it says, she is the eldest daughter of Lisa Marie Presley and sole trustee of Graceland.
Mm-hmm.
Graceland, I should say. And I thought that sentence, I was like, ugh. Like that made me just feel so overwhelmed for you. Like the sole trustee of Graceland,
Mm-hmm.
like what does that mean to you?
I don't know. I think it means. I think it's actually meaningful to me. I think it's something that I have always, even when I wasn't the sole trustee, it's something that I've participated in a sense, with my mom, and we were very close. So like a lot of the Graceland stuff I was already involved in with her. So I don't know. To be honest, it doesn't really feel like that intense to me.
Well,
I think on paper it sounds.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I don't want that kind of responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people involved, so it's not all on just my shoulder.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
They've been running that operation for
Yes.
a while. I was there a few years ago when I was performing over there. Is there a venue?
There is, yeah.
I think I performed there. That's
Yeah.
where I was. Yeah. So so your mom wanted to write a book, and and she asked you to help her with it, and then you did. So it's there's parts that are in your voice, and there are parts in her voice, and it's heavy and beautiful and joyful. And you had so many beautiful, joyful experiences growing up, and crazy experiences, and different people in and out of your lives. And so I wonder, what does it feel like, to be the granddaughter of someone so legendary and knowing so much about him through your own family, but without ever having met him yourself?
Well, I think my answer is probably a lot less interesting than people would want it to be, but it's felt very normal to me. I'm aware, obviously, that it's a unique situation, but I think that my perception of him was always familial, and my relation to him, even though I didn't meet him, was through my family, so it felt personal. But I can acknowledge how unique it is. But I think that even though he was always around and his music was always playing and he was kind of everywhere all the time, it still just felt like a personal family connection.
Have you ever sat?
Okay, guys. So a special thank you to Joe for quickly joining us. Now, just so you know, he's messaging us on his sister channel. Yeah. So obviously it's Rare Elvis Photos. Joe lately has done some fantastic work, obviously recently with Billy Stanley interview, but much more, guys. You have to go over. Tanya's been asking about the Kathy reading, and we here fully support Joe. Fully 100%. We're behind him all the way. We're honored that he joins us sometimes, says hello. And I watch Joe every night. To me, he's one of, if not the best channel, Elvis channel, and Elvis Defender, and his reading is fantastic, and the interviews he does are amazing. I'm blown away just how brilliant Joe is. So thank you, Joe. You're very popular here. Everyone loves you. So keep up the great work. So I want to say hello to Salvatore. Salvatore, how are you, my friend? Hope you're well. Welcome to everyone that's joining us at Team Elvis. We're a bit disorganized today because I'm in a different room. At the moment, I'm trying to review this interview with Riley. She does talk about Lisa. She talks about Priscilla. She talks about the twins, Finley and Harper. She talks about Benjamin. So I think quite an important interview. It is a bit blurry. There's not much I can do about it. But what I want to do is we can watch it together. I haven't watched it all the way through. Team Elvis, let's watch it together and get a feel for Riley and the kind of sort of what is her vibe with obviously the horrible losses that she's had to deal with, of course, with Lisa and with Benjamin. Yeah, don't forget with Riley, she is also taken over, hasn't she? She's in charge of Graceland. She's had some complicated situations with Priscilla contesting Lisa's wishes on who inherits everything, because obviously Lisa wanted Riley and the twins to have everything, and Benjamin, but she didn't know, of course, poor Benjamin was going to pass. So let's just get a feel. Now, whenever I watch Riley in the last 2-3 months, I find that she is becoming more and more relaxed in her interviews. She just is coming across almost like a friend, almost very down to earth, very laid back, very honest. She really does speak from the heart. I've also found that the way she answers the questions comes across very honest, very honest. I really trust how she's answering her questions. She's never shocked or surprised by the questions. No matter how tough the question is, she just gets on with it, answers it from the heart. So let's watch it together, guys, okay? So it's quite a long interview. So let's just see how we go.
And watched his films and been like, oh my God, like this is my grandfather. This is where I've come from.
I have, but I think I'm like the kind of person who's like obsessed with where I came from anyway. So what's really cool is that I have so much of it to look at, you know. Yeah. I think that I'm like very interested in my family history and my family tree on both sides of my family. So it's actually very cool. And one of the coolest things for me being like obsessed with I don't know, where I've come from is that like our entire family tree and everything, because of like archives at Graceland, we have like a whole detailed thing. But yeah, it's I definitely have, especially when I was a teenager, would watch performances and
yeah. And so with your mother and her losing her father at the age of 9, right? That was obviously something that she struggled with throughout her life. And the way you speak about your mother is in almost, and you say this in the beginning of the book, you say like, I almost have like, I forget the exact wording, but like a maternal instinct. Like I sometimes think about if I were a mother to my own mother and to my grandmother, which I thought was very powerful.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
When I was writing, I was talking to my publisher and I kind of like said that. And then I thought, well, I'm going to put it in the book because I don't really know exactly what it means, but it's how I felt. That's and I think that was a feeling I had as far back as I could remember, that I felt like I wanted to protect my mother and I guess nurture her or mother her. And I had that with my grandmother too. So I don't know why. I think maybe... and not to say, by the way, they were both great parents and my mother was extremely nurturing, but I just felt this desire or empathy. It was probably empathy, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's totally natural. I mean, I think you want a mother as a woman, like, you know, you want to protect the people that you love. And that becomes a kind of like mothering, like kind of not role, but you can be a mother to your own mother at sometimes, and I think you certainly have been from what's in the book.
I think so. I mean, I think it's more common than I'd realized in my 20s, that you get to this point and you know, can become the mother, or your relationship changes with your mother.
Yeah.
In my case, it was kind of drastic because there was drug use, so it was like a kind of a 360 situation. But yeah, it's like a kind of an inevitable circumstance, whether it's due to age or something, you know. So I think that it's always in you, I guess.
Yeah, I think that it's also like the role that your father has played in your life, and your brother's life, like always, and your mother's life, always this constant, you know, this constant presence, and them living together even after they divorced, and that relationship, and how long they stuck together, and how he, as you say, was such a protector of hers. Mm-hmm. What does your relationship to your father mean to you after having gone through all of these losses together?
Well, our relationship my whole life has been incredibly close. Actually, all of us, my mom, my dad, my brother, all of us four, and my two younger sisters, but primarily us four, we're very, very close. And I think that there's this sense like that we're the only two left out of that sort of family that was created. Yeah. And I also didn't expect it to be me and him. So there's this weird, he's kind of a wild card, my dad. And he's, I'm sure, I hope he one day writes his own book, because his story is so fascinating, regardless of my mom. Like, he's just one of those people that has the most insane life. But I think that there is this sense of like, we share a lot of the same experiences and loss and grief and like suffering in a sense, but also the love that was there. So it's a very unique, like, I feel very grateful to have him.
I mean, yeah, during this time of, loss, or I know it wasn't right back to back, but between your brother and your mother, I mean, you needed another witness there. I mean, anybody would. Are you close? You're still close with your grandmother, right?
I mean, right. So
we're close.
So in a minute, she's gonna. Well, you just heard that, and then I'm gonna move this over a bit so it's not so near the light. So I think that's better. So the big question's coming up: are you close to your grandmother? And Pat just asked the question: do I think that Riley is close to Priscilla? Obviously, I'm not a member of the family. I don't know them. But my gut feeling is it's very hot and cold, that they're very on and off. I think secretly behind the scenes, there's quite a few arguments. I think the kind of stuff they've had to deal with, especially with the complications after Lisa died, with Priscilla really at first saying she wants to be co-executor at Gracelands. I think it's obvious that they argued a lot. It's obvious, yeah? Now, we know that Riley had to give Priscilla $1 million, 400,000 legal fees, 100,000 a year advisory payment that goes to Priscilla every year, advisor to Gracelands. And I'm sure there's other things, yeah? Now, I take offense to the fact that Riley gave Priscilla this money. I don't think Riley had a choice, but this money came straight out of the grandkids' pockets. So Finley and Harper and Riley paid this money to Priscilla. So I personally feel that this money has come out of the pocket of Priscilla's grandkids. And I think that's out of order. I think Priscilla 100% should not in any way be taking money from her own grandchildren. I also think that it's time for Priscilla to fully step aside and let Riley do her job, run Gracelands, yeah? And then eventually the twins will step in, Finley and Harper. The three of them, I'm sure, will do a fantastic job on behalf of Elvis's legacy, Elvis's home, Gracelands. And so let's listen to what she's going to say. I'll read your comments. She's going to ask her now, are you close to your grandmother, Priscilla? So let's have a listen, guys. And this one key question is part of the reason I wanted to review this interview with Dear Chelsea, which seems a fantastic YouTube channel.
Close. We are. She's wonderful.
Ready?
I mean, unique love that was there. So it's very unique. Like, I feel very grateful to have him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, during this time of, loss, or I know it wasn't right back to back, but between your brother and your mother, I mean, you needed another witness there. I mean, anybody would.
Yeah.
Are you close? You're still close with your grandmother, right?
I am. Yeah, we're close. We are. She's wonderful. I mean, we've been close my whole life, and I think that been doing a lot of press who've asked about our relationship, because obviously there was a lot of news when my mom passed. But ultimately, like, we have never, I mean, to this day, have never really had an argument, and we're fairly close. We're pretty average family, other than the random,
Right. Okay. Right. So let me pause that. Now let me pause that, guys. Thank you, Larry. I agree with you, Larry. Now, did you hear? Are you close with your grandmother? She says things are wonderful. She's wonderful. But then, as the question goes on, she then says, we're fairly close. We're fairly close. I don't think they're as close as she's trying to say here in this interview. One of you just said, I think it was Stacey, that she thinks it might be just a bit of a front for the public to make the public believe that Riley and Priscilla are fine. I don't think they are. Now, we're going to listen to the whole section again, and this time we'll listen to how Riley starts by saying one thing, and then the answer to that question, are you close to your grandmother, evolves into something a bit different. Right, ready?
News when my mom passed, but ultimately, like, I've been doing a lot of press.
Right?
I am. Yeah.
Right, we ready, guys?
It wasn't right, like, suffering in a sense, but also the love that was there. So it's very unique. Like, I feel very grateful to have him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, during this time of, loss, or I know it wasn't right back to back, but between your brother and your mother, I mean, you needed another witness there. I mean, anybody would. Yeah. Are you close? You're still close with your grandmother, right?
I am. Yeah, we're close. We are. She's wonderful. I mean, we've been close my whole life, and I think that been doing a lot of press who've asked about our relationship, because obviously there was a lot of news when my mom passed. But ultimately, like, we have never, I mean, to this day, have never really had an argument, and we're fairly close.
Yeah. See, we're fairly close.
Pretty average family, other than the random, lawsuit and oddity here and there.
All right. I wasn't even talking about that. Okay. Did that get sorted out?
It did.
It did. Okay, great. That's good to know. So, but your father lives in
yeah,
and your father.
Yeah, I get Pat. I see Pat says, no offense if that was my grandma and heard what Lisa had said in her book, I would have nothing to do with her. And I think we all feel that way. We all feel that way. I think, just my opinion, she doesn't really like her, because she goes from saying, oh yes, she's wonderful, to, oh, we're fairly close, yeah, and she stutters a bit. And Riley, no offense, I love Riley. I think she's great. I think she's perfect for Graceland. I think she's going to do a fantastic job. I really think she truly loves Graceland and her grandfather, and obviously she is there for Graceland's the legacy, Finley and Harper as well. But do I think Riley is really close to Priscilla? No, I don't. I really don't. I just don't believe it. I think she has to say the right stuff to the press. I think it's expected of her. Maybe Elvis Presley Enterprises want her to show a face of unity with EPE, with Gracelands, with Priscilla. But I'm not convinced, guys. I don't think they get on that well. But that's just my opinion, Louis at home. Yeah, I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
LA,
He does,
right?
yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of looked at it like I was reading it and I'm like, God, your dad and you kind of sound like soulmates.
Yeah, I think we all, like, there was a sense between all of us that we were soulmates or something.
Yeah.
You know, like him and my mother, or my brother and myself and my father. Like, there was such closeness there that I think a lot of my processing of their loss is like also processing the closeness as well, and realizing how unique that was.
Well, you talk about in the book when your brother took his life and that your mom, you knew that your mom wasn't going to be able to survive that for very long.
Yeah.
Instinctively, you knew that. And you talk about how you guys all just kind of came together and stayed in the house and really grieved together and didn't talk about anything other than Ben and, you know, really honored him. And I thought that was very powerful because not a lot of people know how to do something like that.
No, and I think that it was a unique situation because it was COVID. So there was also nothing to do and we were all stuck in the house. And so, but I also felt very grateful for it because I think that had life been its usual self, that maybe I would have, you know, kind of, I don't know, tried to escape some of the pain.
Right.
And I think that the way that we grieved, you know, it's obviously like a lifelong process, but in that moment was really like effective. I just kept feeling like in the moment, like the only way out is through, I remember. And I just felt like I had to feel it all and had to be present through it. And I think that because we were all staying in this house and because it was, you know, the pandemic, it allowed for that kind of grief, which normally you just kind of just go back to work and have to process while you're, you know, juggling life.
Well, and it seems like your mom, from what I read.
Right, well, just quickly, just a quick point on that. She's going to go on and start speaking about Lisa, I think. A lot of things happened through COVID. Now, the whole world was turned upside down during COVID. So how everyone reacted to everything was completely different. But let's listen to this next question, guys.
As times for you guys to be creative together and grieve together and process. Like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when he passed, like her whole life was then grieving my brother, like in mourning essentially. And I think that at times that was intense because that was, you know, she had a very strong personality, and so whatever she was feeling was how the room was feeling. So I think that her feelings dictated like everybody around, and I think that she was kind of firm in not wanting to ever stop grieving my brother. And so it was kind of like when you're around me, like I'm in pain and that's just how it is. But the honesty in it was really I mean, in her whole life and in her grief was very powerful too.
Did you feel at all like you suspected your mother wouldn't be able to survive Ben's death and that she was going to struggle with it, which initially she didn't, right? She stayed sober for a while, you write about. But did you feel at all, I mean, it felt like when you were on the plane ride coming home and texting with your dad about, you know, whether or not she was alive still, that there was almost an acceptance from you that was the way it was going to be, instead of sometimes, you know, we resist and fight the reality that we're in.
So let's just pause it again quickly. Now, remember, we're doing a review, so we do have to cut in and say things and be critical or just give our opinions. I've watched a few interviews now, and Riley does say that on the plane back, the plane journey back, she had a feeling that her mum had passed. She had a strong feeling that her mum had passed. Let's listen, guys.
I think a lot of my lifetime has been acceptance. Just being around a lot of addiction and situations that were not in my control. So by the time she passed, I think I had a lot of practice in accepting what is. Not that it's not painful, but I think that, you know, through her addiction, my brother, you know, things with my father, like there's been a lot of things where I've just had to, like there's nothing to do other than you know, surrender to what's happening. So I did, and there were other things that had happened with her health, like she had a seizure, which I mentioned in the book, prior. So there were these moments where I kind of had placed myself in that scenario. And also through her addiction, I thought it was a very likely outcome that she wasn't going to make it through her addiction. So there was a lot of like bumps in the road along the way. But I think ultimately when my brother died, I could see that she was here, you know, begrudgingly, you know, and so there.
Yeah. I mean, God, that is just so sad. I know that Salvatore doesn't like, because Salvatore emailed me and said that he doesn't like it when she keeps bringing up addiction. I understand how you feel, Salvatore. Yeah. But the truth is, there was a lot of problems with, you know, we don't have to use the word addiction. We could use the word prescribed medications, painkillers, uppers, downers, you name it. She, you know, depression, anxiety, you know, there was problems there with Benjamin, with Lisa, obviously, of course, with Elvis. So it has been a big part of her life, hasn't it? So it's, I think it's almost unavoidable that, you know, she's gone through some, Riley has gone through some very, very, very serious struggles, you know. It all comes to a head by obviously losing Benjamin must have been just mind-blowing, because it's her brother and they were so close. They grew up together. They were very, very, you know, they were like two peas in a pod. And then really not long after, unexpectedly losing Lisa. But then she says that she felt that after Benjamin passed, that she felt that really some of the time Lisa didn't want to be here. So tough, guys, very, very tough.
For whatever reason, in that moment, I did feel a sort of like, I don't know, I just felt like I accepted whatever was going to happen.
And also the idea that she's finally at peace.
Yeah.
Right? And on some new adventure. And I mean, I know you're probably spiritual, right? I gathered that from your writing.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing, is that I like, through these things that have happened, I think I've chosen to look at death in a way that feels I don't know, truthful, like the most, like from my experiences, I guess, through loss and through grief and stuff. I guess I've chosen that I like to look at it as more of like a wonder of life, as opposed to like the end, you know.
Mhm.
So I think that I try to apply that, because we have, you know, no idea. So I like to live in the wonder of it instead of the.
I like people who talk about that the idea that they do know what's going to happen. It's like, or that when people say something like drowning is the most peaceful way to die, you're like, who told you that?
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Oh, my worst nightmare.
No shit. I'm like, that is the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
What do you feel a responsibility? I'm sure you do, but how does this work in your life with your younger sisters? How old are they?
They're 16.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you're like, are you like a mama bear to them?
I think so. You know, I'm not their mom, but I am their older sister, and I think that I've, you know, spent a lot of my life. I'm 20 years older than them, so it feels more like an aunt or a mother kind of relationship than, I don't know. The other day, one of them said, "You feel like you're my age." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But it's definitely more like a, you know, I'm much older, so it does have that sort of dynamic.
And do you feel a sense of responsibility to continue your mom's spirit with your sisters, and to like carry on the traditions that she gave you guys and taught you?
Definitely, yeah. I definitely, and they do too. You know, they want to, you know, honor her and do things she did and stuff. I don't like push them in any direction, but I kind of see what indicates to them and then follow their lead in that.
It's funny when I read about
So
dad and your.
I mean, I've obviously the twins that, you know, come on, they're 16. We don't know much about them. I sort of, you know, at a distance, watch a few of the things they do on Instagram. But I respect the fact that they're only 16. But they love their grandfather. They adored their mother, and they're definitely Elvis fans. They love Elvis music. They're Christian girls, and from the small snippets of information I get about the twins, they're lovely people. They're lovely people. So fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. They're going to be a great help to Riley when they all come together and run Gracelands on behalf of their grandfather and on behalf of their mother. And they're going to do a great job and make us all proud. I'm very optimistic that these are great girls. So let's just keep going, guys.
And they both have such huge personalities.
Mhm.
You could see that.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying you don't have a huge personality. I'm just saying when you come from two people with two big personalities like that, how do you find your way? Because you're an artist too.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that my dad's actually probably more similar to me. Like I would say that I would say I'm an introvert, and I would say my dad is as well. I think that through like film and having to be in this world, I can be extroverted, but naturally, like I am more of an introvert, and not in a sort of like shy way, but just in a, I don't know, more quiet way. I don't know if that has to do with my mom being so large or not, but yeah, I've thought about that before because she was such a, presence, but I don't really think so. I think that it's maybe just my personality.
Were you
or lack thereof.
Were you nervous when you sang for Daisy and the Six?
No,
you weren't.
I wasn't. Because I don't know. I think
Right.
have like.
Let's just pause that a minute. So Pat said something. She wishes she knew how the twins felt about their grandmum. I mean, as far as I know, Priscilla actually had them for a while, didn't she? When there was this dispute with Michael Lockwood, I think they actually lived with Priscilla for a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're quite close to Priscilla. But don't forget, they're 16-year-olds. She's blood. Whichever way we look at it, Priscilla is gran. It is grandmother. So how aware the twins are of all the stuff that has gone on for the last 50 odd years, we can only guess at, really, can't we? And so, they're going to grow up fast, mind. The twins are going to grow up fast. Before you know it, they're going to be 18 adults in the world. And you're going to see a lot of them in the papers and the press because part owners of Gracelands, granddaughters of the most famous man that's ever lived. So watch this space, guys.
Something wrong with me where I like don't get nervous, really. Yeah. I know. I don't know why. I think it's like I have a sense of humor, maybe.
Do you have fears?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have fears.
Because I was going to say that's usually when you have no fear. That means something.
No.
It's like your amygdala. You don't have an amygdala.
No, I'm like a total like neurotic fear person. But it's like about I'm a hypochondriac. Like it's other things.
Right.
But no, I don't know. I think I just like if I fail at something like this, or if I was to try to sing and I couldn't do it, I don't know. I just didn't take it very seriously, I guess.
That's refreshing.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, especially in this industry, a lot of people are very self-serious.
Yes, I know. I'm very not self-serious.
So so you spent a lot of time at Neverland on top of Graceland, which Oprah mentioned. She's like, this is the only woman that's lived in Graceland and Neverland.
Yeah.
Well, how do you view like Michael Jackson and your experience with him?
My experience with Michael was...
I'm going to interrupt on this bit because she's going to talk about Michael Jackson. I think many of us here are Michael Jackson fans. No matter what's gone on, we don't know the truth, do we, guys? I definitely 100% have been a Michael Jackson fan my whole life. Yeah, right from the Jackson 5, way back in the 70s. I think Michael Jackson is amazing. Yeah, but I know there's obviously many people that are very worried about all the stuff that went on. We don't know if it's true or not, do we? I like to think it's not true, but we don't know. So I'm interested to see her perspective of Michael Jackson. I do think her perspective of Michael Jackson is from the point of view of a child, because lived at Netherlands for a while. We know, obviously, of course, Lisa Marie was married. If you read the book, you do get the impression that they were a genuine relationship. They even stayed friends for years after the divorce, Lisa and Michael. So I'm going to be interested now just to see what Riley says about Michael Jackson.
Obviously, like through a 6-year-old me's lens, so it was like very fun and larger than life, and you know, all the things that we would do together were always like big events. So it was just like, my memory of it was just everything was fun all the time. But my life was kind of like that. Like our life was kind of nuts, you know, in comparison to my life now, which is very like small and kind of normal, you know. So it was I think Michael and my mom both enjoyed creating these extravagant scenarios. So that was kind of my experience.
Right. But with the impact of everything that we found out about Michael Jackson and all the allegations, like, does that did that have an impact on your view of the situation?
Of their marriage?
Yeah, of their marriage, and just, yeah, like, you must have been like, are these things true, right, about him?
Yeah, I think that, like, I mean, at the time, I wasn't aware of the case. And it just became something that was just sort of around. Like, there was never a conversation about it. I'm sure my mom would have had those conversations at the time with other people. But for me, it was just this thing that I guess I ended up just kind of knowing about. But I never, like, there was never a conversation with my mom where she kind of sat me down and went like, so, you know, there's this allegation. But by the time that was in my...
So can I ask you guys, I'm not going to ask you if you believe the allegations or not, because I don't want to go there with this interview, but can I ask you guys, do any of you think Lisa believed the allegations of abuse of Michael Jackson? Do any of you think Lisa thought it was true or not true? This is my question to Team Elvis. There's over 40 of you watching now. How many of you think that Lisa thought it was true or not true? So please, could you answer, guys?
World, I was much older, and Michael wasn't really in my universe.
Well, when I was reading, I mean, I was surprised by what she was divulging in this book about being married to Michael Jackson. I was like, oh, I didn't, you know, as an outsider, you looked at that, you didn't know that that was real. You didn't know that they had chemistry, that they had an intimate relationship per se as an outsider. So I was like, oh, you know, wow, like, I found that fascinating. So this is a nice Scientology success story, right? But I mean, it was nice that, like, I've heard so many negative things about Scientology. It was kind of nice to hear your mother helping her get sober, and
having community
and wanting to be there, and that was the
So
way she felt.
obviously, obviously, I don't think Lisa believed it was true, but I don't know. I wasn't there. Now, almost all of you said you don't believe that Lisa thought it was true. But Larry, I'll bring you into the debate, because it's okay that we disagree or agree here, guys. It's okay that we debate. Now, Larry, you just said that's why Lisa left him, yeah? So what can you, Larry, do you mind me asking you, why do you think that Lisa left Michael Jackson because of the allegations? Can you just let me know, please, Larry? I'm interested in your opinion, my friend.
This for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like the way she would talk about it when she was here was very funny. Like, I don't know if the tone comes across in the book, but it was kind of like nobody would take care of her but them, you know? Yeah. So I think she felt this sense of like community and really cared for when she was a teenager. And I think she was, you know, self-proclaimed like very difficult. So I think that, you know, that was her experience. And yeah.
And then she ended up leaving Scientology at a certain point, right?
Yeah, well, she
right. Okay, obviously she's going to start talking about Scientology. So it's funny because Linda, who said, let me just read it again. So Linda has just said that they married after the allegations. I'll be honest with you, I don't know, I don't remember. Tony has mentioned the documentary Finding Neverlands. So I'll be honest with you. I think that the people here at Team Elvis should make their own minds up. I don't want to sway people to believe it or to not believe it. I just think we're all grown-ups. We have the right to believe whatever we believe. Like Tony said, we all wish it wasn't true. Yeah, we all wish it wasn't true. I agree with that. So let me just check a couple more comments. Trudy, yes, I think she knew him maybe better than anyone even knew him. I believe Lisa and her instincts. And then Linda says that's why their marriage was thought of as a publicity stunt. I remember they were trying to say it as a publicity stunt, but this book proves that it was not a publicity stunt. This book, the words are in here, Lisa's own words. She genuinely loved Michael Jackson, even saying that when she got married to him, it was one of the happiest days of her life. So Salvatore, I believe and trust Lisa. Me too. Me too, Salvatore. That makes two of us. Okay, let's keep going, guys.
I think the way I phrased it was like, I don't know if it was the chicken or the egg kind of a situation, but she basically, when she started taking opiates, she kind of up and left like her whole life and moved to England and like fired everyone in her life and left her religion and her life and her friends and just moved to England and wanted like to totally start over. And at the time I wasn't aware that there was like a substance abuse issue. So it just sort of, to a lot of people around, just felt like this random kind of really intense cleansing of people and things, and nobody really understood what was going on. And then she got to England, and then the sort of pills progressed. So, you know, it wasn't so much her like leaving Scientology. She kind of just like left her life a bit. Like it was a escape from everything in her life.
What's your relationship with drugs and alcohol? I would be so
right. I don't want to just. She's skipped over the Scientology bit a little bit, so I want to jump in. The way that Riley talked about it, Lisa literally left her life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a point where Lisa had just had enough and completely wanted out of Scientology, took the kids with her, and never looked back. That's how I see it.
I mean, maybe not scared, mindful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that I think I've never had like addiction issues. I've smoked cigarettes for a really long time, and that was, you know, hard for me to quit, but I never like had a sense that I had like a dependency on drugs or alcohol for whatever reason. I have no idea, because my entire family are addicts. But it just, yeah, I think that there's like a fear there that it can, the reason why I think there's a fear is because my mom's addiction was, to me, felt random at 40. So it felt like this like kind of scary thing that came out of nowhere. But I don't foresee that, but I do have this sort of like fear around how it's sort of, I don't know what the fear is, but there is this, yeah, but I don't know. I also just like don't really like drinking, so I think that's,
well, there you go. That's great. Yeah. That's going to be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and I think some people have that personality and some people don't.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and if you're in that kind of pain for that long amount, you know, for that period of time, and it was clear from reading this book, like that she was never getting over her father dying, which why would you? You know, a 9-year-old doesn't know how to digest that. And then that, hits you usually at 40.
Yeah,
like I lost my
for
brother when
sure.
I was 9, and I went into deep therapy at 40 because everything turned.
Yeah.
And like I totally understand why it would creep up on her at that age.
Yeah.
Because you're suppressing and repressing for as long as possible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And escaping and all of the other stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back with Riley Keough.
We don't want breaks.
Oh, question. The sub was no longer in the picture. My mom told me that.
Right, guys, so I haven't got much longer. I think they're going to start asking some questions. It's very interesting, yeah? I mean, Chelsea asks some questions that do make you think, don't they? And, you know, I'm not sure everyone is going to really like this interview. I think to the real, how can I say it? We're expecting a lot from Riley, aren't we? We really want Riley to defend her mother, her grandfather. I don't think all of the answers we're hearing are what we all want to hear, but it's as honest as you're going to get. I don't believe her that she thinks Priscilla is wonderful. I really don't believe that. I don't believe that her and Priscilla get on really well. I just don't. Let's keep going with a few more questions, but then we might have to come back with a part 2 because I've only got a little bit longer. But let's keep going, guys.
Teenagers, that aunt and uncle got pregnant and had a baby. Anyway, my
Wait, aunt and uncle, the brother and sister?
No, sorry. So this is the two
Sounded like
brothers.
my family.
This is a lot of these are a lot of characters.
There's a lot going on.
After 16, I was, what?
So it's her dad's brother who was closest in age, that aunt and uncle. So his girlfriend, and this is just an aunt and uncle.
Okay,
One of the seven.
okay.
One of the seven.
Okay.
When I was a kid, they got pregnant and had a baby. Anyway, my aunt was, of course, moved to wherever for 9 months for secrecy, and the baby was given up for adoption quietly. Yes, my uncle knew and my mom knew because they were friends, but my grandparents didn't know. Nobody knew until my mom told me. My aunt and my uncle got married and have 3 other children together. So the oldest male cousin is not actually their oldest. Fast forward to about 3 years ago when I was talking with my aunt. I was tipsy and I told her that I knew about her first child. This child was a boy and would actually be the oldest cousin. She was in obvious disbelief, but told me they're still keeping the secret from their 3 other adult children. My aunt has met the son that they gave up. He came to a church function and sat in the back and saw his parents and siblings from afar. I want to tell them so badly. Their other kids, the aunt and uncle, are in their 30s and 40s, and I'm bursting at the seams that I'm the only other person that knows this. Do I blow up my family and tell them, or just shut the fuck up? I'll add that these 3 cousins of mine are super great people. They have spouses and kids of their own, and this is just so effed up. Thanks, Jay.
I would keep that to yourself. It's not your place at all. In my opinion, you do not want to believe. This is not your secret to tell. Your mother for telling her.
Hang on a minute.
That was a big.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what your intent.
Try to forget that you even know business.
So obviously this is called Dear Chelsea, so people phone in with things. I want to keep it on Riley, so if there's no questions for Riley, let's just see what happens, yeah?
I would say. So yeah, keep your mouth shut.
All right, Jay. There you have it.
It's encouraging to know that's happening to other families, but I would suspect that's exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with famous people. People coming out of the woodwork
Oh my
left and
gosh,
right.
the amount of cousins and
I'm sure.
siblings and things
Yeah.
that we get.
Oh yeah, I'm
There's
sure.
a
Well,
lot.
Luckily now they have DNA testing,
Exactly.
so you can actually be sure.
Yes.
Luckily or unluckily.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, Chris says, Dear Chelsea, I was lucky to have the opportunity to bring 2 little boys into the world for another family as their surrogate. I know that sounds like your worst nightmare. The first
Guys.
about my diet and exercise, even though the
1 second, guys.
is at the end of the day,
Angry way, verdict to let someone know that when paying you to provide them a service.
Yeah, I think right. Okay, I think we've gone far enough with that particular interview. Obviously, it does seem like a fantastic show. I thank Chelsea very much. I did let her know that we were going to review it. So guys, if you want to see the original, they are called Dear Chelsea. Dear Chelsea. Yeah. So I've got a couple of minutes more to have a quick chat. So that'll be it for today, but I'll be back in the morning. So it's I understand, guys, when it comes to Michael Jackson, people have very strong views either way. I honestly do believe that there was true love with Lisa, with Michael. Of course, Michael Jackson was a very extrovert character, so it's not straightforward. I'm not going to lie. When we found out that Lisa had married Michael Jackson, I think the whole world was surprised and shocked. It did take me a while to get used to it, even though I love Michael Jackson. It did take me a while to, whoa, Lisa Marie, Elvis's daughter, has married Michael Jackson. It was a big deal. Yeah, I don't know if many of you remember how you felt, but it was a big deal, guys. It was a big deal. It was quite a shock. I don't think Lisa thought that about Michael, especially having kids. She never would have married him. Yeah, I understand that. And that's Nancy. How are you? How's little Riley? Nancy, how's little Riley? How's her tummy today? Is she eating her food? So, Nancy, I hope you don't mind me saying, Nancy's a gorgeous little dog has got a bad tummy. So I hope, Nancy, I hope she's okay. So just so you don't get confused, Riley's is Nancy's, the name of Nancy's dog. Yeah. So hopefully back tomorrow, I'll be back in the kitchen, back to normal. We're all going to go and we're going to have warm up Christmas dinner now. We're going to warm up our Christmas dinner and have leftovers of yesterday. I fixed my wife's car. I fixed my wife's car, guys. So happy. Yeah, you may as well. All right, we're finished now. Hi, beautiful wife. So, guys, I'm going to go now. Thanks a lot. I'm going to have some dinner. Yes, go back and watch the interview. I can't stay because my wife, we're going to all have dinner now. All right, Songbird, did you watch it? I had to video me fixing the car. So I'm going to see, I'll be back in the morning, guys. Who knows? I may come back on later. Don't think so, though. Tanya, thanks for joining us. Tanya, we tend to try and have a different topic every day. Tanya, I do want to go through the questions that you wanted us to ask Team Elvis. We're going to have one live stream for that. Nancy, see you in the morning. I may come back on one more time. I don't think so, but you never know. Happy Boxing Day, guys. Larry, thanks for joining us. Salvatore, my friend. Carolyn. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the morning. If I come on in the morning, it's around 10. No, I'll come a bit. Oh, no, it'll be earlier. It will be probably 8:30 a.m. British time, 8:30 a.m. UK time, but not definite because I got kids. I got 5 kids living with me, so it's not straightforward. Happy Boxing Day. Happy Boxing Day. All of you, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming together. Team Elvis, taking care of business. We come together twice a day. We have fun. We get to know each other. We ask each other questions. We debate. We agree. We disagree. We just look after each other. We got each other's back. Team Elvis, taking care of business. I got to go, guys. Love to all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate every single one of you. It means a lot to me that you join, that we all come together every day. Thanks, guys. Happy New Year coming soon. Take care, guys.